Here's 3 minutes on how to do simple aggregations in BigQuery, such as unique counts, sums, and averages. Now, I'm going to be using my Star Wars dataset, which has an array of tables, but for today I'm going to focus on the vehicles table. So I'm just going to select the plus button up here to create a new tab, and because I firstly just want to see everything in the table, I'm going to select star, i.e. all columns, from, and if I begin to type vehicle, you'll see that it actually pops up here. So I'm just going to select this to save me typing it out. And then also, because I don't know how many rows are in here, I'm just going to put a limit 1000. And you can see once it's run that actually we only have 50 rows. It's a relatively small data set. We seem to have a unique ID, also vehicle names, and then some numeric values here. I can also see columns such as film and pilot here, which will be interesting to split the data by later on. But firstly, I want to do some initial counts, and this is in order to gauge the granularity of the table and figure out at what level it's unique. So if we do a count star here, that will give us the total number of rows, which we already know is 50. I'm also going to do a count distinct on ID, and this will show us how many unique IDs there are in the table. And if it's a unique identifier for the table, as it suggests, this should also be 50. I also want to point out, at the end of each variable that you create, you need to add a comma if you plan to create another variable after this. Now, we've seen in the table that there are some numeric variables such as costs. I'm going to use the sum function for this column in order to show us the total cost of all the vehicles in this Star Wars data. And as you can see here, it's nothing but sum, open bracket, your variable, so in this case costing credits, close bracket, and then adding your alias as we've done before. I can also use the avg function in order to find out the average cost of a vehicle. Now if we run this, we can see that the number of rows is 50, which we already knew. The number of unique IDs is also 50, which means that we can use this as our unique identifier for the table if needing to join to other tables. We also have the total costing credits and the average costing credits. Now if I wanted this for each of the films, all I would do here is add in a comma and then add the column where the films attribute resides, which in this case it's just called films. You'll see here that there's an error message, and that's because we actually need to group by the same field. So after the from, if you just type group by and then films, you'll see here that there's a green tick. We're good to go. So if we run this, we then have the total and average costs along with those counts separated by each of the Star Wars films. And that's it. You now know how to do a count of a column, a distinct count, i.e. how many unique entries are in that column, in addition to just summing and averaging a numeric value.